Okay. Lester told a story today on his video. And it was all mixed up. And he says, if you don't believe me, ask Sister Kim. So Sister Kim is here to tell you exactly what that was about, because nobody was catching any rats with a net. Okay, so it was an anniversary, probably our first or second anniversary with Levi's dad. And he had bought a boat. Half the time he bought something, I didn't have any knowledge of it till after the fact. But he bought a boat. His daddy had a boat, and we had been out using his dad's boat many, many times. I love to fish. This was the first time we had gone out in the bay and went to a spot that, okay, so his side of the family tended to have group fishing trips. I'm sort of thinking like how Daniel and his friends are, how they all have boats, or lots of them have boats. So his daddy had a boat, his cousin had a boat, his brother had a boat. And we, when we first started going out in a boat, we just used his dad's boat, because honestly, his dad didn't fish all that often anymore. We happened to be coming up on an anniversary, and we had purchased our own boat. So the next day, well, let me just we'll bring that in later. So we decided that we were going to spend our anniversary day on the lake. On the bay. We went to the bay. Normally we were in the lake. This time we were in the bay. We were going to spend it in the bay, however many hours that day, and then we were going to stay in some little hotel where, I can't even remember where we were. I can't remember where we were. Like, because, there's bays around here. There's Bay Town. We're just in one part of the bay somewhere. Anyway, I don't remember how, because those little details I don't remember. But we were fishing in the bay. And at some point, the prop broke. So we were anchored. Something happened and the prop broke. I don't know how. I don't remember that detail. And we were sort of like in this cove type little spot. And it was evidently a favorite spot for them when they all, like, before, when him and his dad would go on his dad's boat, and his cousin would be there, and his brother. This is like some little spot they always went to. I don't know. All I know is that prop broke and we were stuck. And we had snacks, so we didn't have we didn't take a meal out there. We weren't planning to have to stay in the boat, and but it was late, and it was getting evening, and for whatever reason we were fixing to leave, and something had happened and the prop broke. So you have to remember, at this time cell phones weren't a thing. We had pagers, but you didn't have cell phones. So we were stuck. Nobody else in a boat came around us. We evidently didn't, I don't guess we had any oars to row ourselves in this big boat. So we were just stuck. And it got dark. And it got scary. But, you know, you think to yourself, well, what can happen? We're in a boat. Nobody can get to us unless they come up on a boat. I think the most thing he worried about was that we didn't have any lights. You know, like, because it wasn't some kind of sailboat or some kind of little yacht. You know, it didn't have any lights on it. I don't remember that it did. I just remember him being worried about that. So we just decided we would have to tough it out. And it got sort of cold. I remember being cold. And I guess I had a jacket because, you know, sometimes on the water with the, you know, you're moving in the water, you get a little cool. So I guess maybe I had a jacket, some kind of little jacket. It wasn't something big. It was miserable. And we used like our life jackets for pillows. It was so horrible. It really was. But, you know, you make do. I'm not a complainer. I've never been really like this complaining type person. You know, we're going to make do. You know, this is going to be a story to tell one day. How we broke down and, you know, our boat broke when we're on the bay fishing and we're stuck. And, you know, it was already, we had planned to, I guess, stay somewhere that night. Because Mom and Dad would have had Levi. Anyway, it was just, okay, so the night, you know, the night goes on and we're trying to sleep and you're uncomfortable. There's nothing soft to lay on and your head's, only thing soft you got is you know, you have to have your life jackets in case somebody, you know, what is it? The police that are in the water, whatever they're called. I can't even think now. But anyway, so had life jackets for pillows. That was it. And you're trying to use, you know, this jacket you had to sort of cover with. And I'm like all snuggled, trying to snuggle up into his, you know, arm and chest, you know, just trying to be warm and go to sleep. And, you know, you're just, and that little rocking with the water is just, that can put you to sleep. There was no music. There's nothing but the sounds of the water. And then you can sort of hear other things farther away. And the tide went out. You know, I don't know what time tides go out, but at some point the tide went out. And I woke up. Some kind of noise woke me up. And I was laying cockeyed. I think I maybe had my back turned to him by then. I'm sort of a shoulder sleeper. I must have been trying to sleep this way, but he was on me. Like, you know, all of his weight was over on me because the boat was tilted. We were tilted. Not completely over, but some, because we were like in the mud. There was water around us, but not enough for us that we needed the tide to come back in. And I don't know how that all works and what time of night and day and all that kind of stuff happens, but I woke him up. I was like, you know, pushing him off and get off of me. You're on me. You know, something's wrong. I thought we were sinking. And I was sort of scared at first. And I did. And then there was noises, splashing noises and little animal noises. And I was like, there's something out there. And nothing got on our boat. And we didn't have food. I don't know Lester's story. I don't know if he just wanted to add to or if he just don't have it right in his head. It was scary because you could hear them. And I didn't know what I was hearing. But he said they were Nutria Rats. I didn't know what a Nutria Rat was. And we had field mice here. You know, he's a country boy too. I don't know what a Nutria Rat is. And he goes, I was like, I don't know what a Nutria Rat is. How big is it? It sounds so big. You know, it was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And, you know, Tide came in at some point. And the whole, it was like he knew at some point that I was starving and we were thirsty. I don't know how much water we took or drinks we took. We took snacks, you know, because we weren't staying there all night on the bay in the water. At some point the next day, his dad showed up. Because that was the whole thing, that we were going to stay somewhere local. Like, I guess we had a hotel booked, or back then, I don't know if he was really big into booking them. You just pulled into one and got a room. But we were going to go back out the next day, and his family was going to be there. His dad and his brother and his cousin or whatever were coming with their boats. So we made it through the night. And yes, there were Nutria Rats out there on the banks, and I don't know what they're eating. They're eating whatever comes, you know, little fish. I don't know what they eat. It was scary. And the first part, I'm not lying, the first part wasn't so bad. It got dark, it was quiet. You'd already had the your peanut butter crackers. You did ate all your peanut butter crackers. Drank all your, I probably was a Dr. Pepper drinker back then. No, actually I would have been a Diet Coke drinker then too, because by then Levi was here and I started drinking Dr. Peppers when the boys were Buddy and Tony were teenagers, because they were getting into my Dr. Pepper. I just said that wrong, I think. I always drank Dr. Pepper. And they started getting, I'm thinking, well, you know, every time I come home, there was cans of empty cans, and sometimes half full cans, like if they'd waste it, they'd open one, take a big swig, and then he would sit until it was hot and didn't have any fizz left. And so I thought, well, I'll teach them. I'll just start drinking something diet. They're not going to drink a diet drink. Well, that didn't work, because they did drink. You know, kids just drink the soda. No, they don't care if it's diet. So I'm sure I had a Diet Coke, probably a couple of them, maybe. He probably had a couple of, he may even had beer, I don't know, because he drank beer back then. I don't know if he had beer or not, but I know that I didn't drink beer, and he may have had some beers, I don't know, but I know we didn't eat all of our peanut butter crackers, cheese crackers, probably all the jerky, because that was the kind of stuff we would take with us when we did stuff like that. When I first tried to go to sleep, it wasn't so bad, because, you know, it's just the rocking, just the sweet water rocking, and you just try to go to sleep, because I'm a light sleeper, so I hear everything. And there wasn't a fan, because I have forever slept with a fan. Even when we were little kids in Mom and Dad's, in our old house, our first old house, it had an attic fan. We slept with a fan. We may not have had a little box fan beside us, but we had a big woo, 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 that went all night long with our windows open, sucking in air that was humidity air, and everything would be wet the next morning. Your sheets and stuff were wet because humidity came in on you. But we slept with a big attic fan. So I was used to noise. And he slept with a fan also. So, I mean, at our house, in our bedroom, we had a big old stand fan that was like 100 years old, but I loved it. It was loud. Anyway, it was a rough night. But the next day, at some point during the day, I don't remember what time, his daddy and his brother came together actually that day on one boat, and his cousin showed up on another boat. And I guess they pulled us. They must have pulled us to shore. I don't know, pulled us to wherever we put the boat in at. Anyway, it was an experience, and it was funny now to think about it, but it was kind of scary when you woke up in the middle of the night and your boat is, you feel like your boat's tipping, because you already know that you're laying like this and somebody done he could have been dead. I didn't know. I just knew I was being smashed. I was tilted over and smashed, because he had rolled over on me when the boat started. He just rolled over on me. He was sleeping good. He probably drank a bunch of beers and just passed out. I had to make myself go to sleep. But hearing those things on the shore and making noise next to the water, it was kind of scary. And he said he probably scared me more. He goes, there's probably 1,000 of them out there. I can tell you how it is in them ships. Because he was in the military, and he was on a ship at one time, and then the bottom of the ship, the bilge or whatever it's called, in the bottom of the ship, the Nutria Rats, and they're big as coons, and I was scared. I was scared to death. Anyway, that is the story. So Lester didn't quite have it right, because we weren't going to catch any rats. That was not something that was going to happen. Anyway, I'm going to get this out to y'all in the morning. All right, love you guys. God bless y'all. Katie, I'm trying to do a video.